because I do 1,300 crunches and sit-ups 4 times a week.
What's a dose? Can you translate for us?
Winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Ernie Els.
Yeah, I must say my enthusiasm and my takes for the PGA are lukewarm at best, to be honest with you. It has been a bit difficult getting psyched up for this one, but I tried my hardest. I tried to do I did a bit of a deep dive on the course, and there's some interesting contents out there on course renovation. And did you see any of that, JDV?
I saw the deep dive stuff that you put on social media, which was so I'm piggybacking on your dive. So I did a shallow dive onto it.
Shallow. Okay.
It reminds me.
It's not a very deep dive that I did.
It reminds me of when we used to go crayfishing, and my boat would like swim all the way down to the bottom and like have his hand in there like searching for crayfish, and I'd just be like blooping at the top there, like up and down.
And then when you get back to shore, you like hold the crayfish up and you claim them in the photos, you know, and you're like, tough morning of crayfishing.
It got so bad that at one stage I remember I was like, no, bugger this, I actually am going to go get a crayfish. And I like went down, put my arm into one of those rocks and like grabbed the crayfish, and it just like goes all the way back into the hole and like gets stuck there. And I was like, no, fuck this, I'm going to get this thing out of here. And you end up just like pulling all feelers and like legs and stuff. And you get more and more desperate to get it over and done with and get back up.
You just dismembered a crayfish underwater.
Yeah, exactly. The schools of fish chowing all the like legs that you ripped off. But anyway, long story short, I haven't done a deep dive.
Okay, so you're holding up photos of the golf course on the beach, basically. Yeah.
Your photos.
Yeah, I suppose I was trying to get excited, and I do enjoy the golf course content, and the fried egg had a pretty cool video on kind of the renovation that was done. The course the course has got history. I think it's one of the few that's had like pretty much every event you can have. In American terms, I think they've had a couple of US Opens, they've had the PGA there, they've had the Ryder Cup, they've had the US Am. Yeah, they've had pretty much everything. But the course looks pretty sick. I don't think I would want to play it. The rough looks pretty intense, and the greens look a bit nuts. I think it'd be fun to watch. But yeah, from everything I can see, that I think it's going to be like pretty low, like high scoring. Yeah, well, high scoring as in like close to level par scoring.
But that's cool. That's how a major should be, in my opinion. I
agree. I'm on board with that. I don't know if I want every major to be like that, but I think it's a nice contrast to the Masters, which is the Masters is its very own unique kind of thing, and you can score and stuff. But essentially, I mean, the course looks like it has some like apparent like really tough stretches of like just these like super long like par fours where like literally if you make 3 pars, you're like the happiest like pro golfer out there.
And quite long. I saw a thing by Matt Fitzpatrick saying he was hitting like 3-wood into a par 3 with the wind into him.
Well, I'm actually just watching on my computer here, and McIlroy's group, they've just played the 11th hole. It's a 248-yard par 3.
Jeebus.
McIlroy and Thomas hit like, I guess, what must have been 4 irons, or maybe even 3 irons, and Colin Morikawa was hitting some sort of wood into there. So that gives you an idea of the length. But
basically, we play 150-meter par 3 into the wind.
But you know what? Like I dig it. Like most of these tournaments we see, it's like it's literally driver wedge or whatever, some sort of wedge, and like this sort of separates the guys who can hit their 5 and 6 irons, consistently, and Yeah, I think the leaderboard's will be pretty stacked come Sunday. I don't think there'll be some random guys up there.
You don't reckon Sean McKeel's going to come out of retirement to take the trophy again? Rich Beam.
Nah, I think Sean McKeel's. I see he's in the field.
Yeah, he was at the Champions Dinner. I saw pictures of him there. And Rich Beam. Yeah.
All the majors do.
Doesn't look very cool, I'm not going to lie.
They'd have it like Spur.
Interesting pictures of them leaving the Champions Dinner with Rory McIlroy, which is Joe Monahan and Rory McIlroy together, leaving in front with Phil Mickelson just behind. So that must have been quite interesting.
Yeah, it looked like a bit of a sad Champions Dinner. Like, looked like only half the guys turned up, and they should really like try and do something else. Like instead of doing a Champions Dinner, like I don't know, maybe a 9-hole or a putting competition or something.
Big T, did you see the plaque of the last USPGA Championship champion from that golf course?
Was it Duffner?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember. You know that when they last had it, I actually picked Duffner to win. That's how much I was into. I was like, this like Duffner's gonna win one of these things.
Wow.
I remember dying with every putt, and that oak was missing like 2 foot, 3 foot putts at one stage. He looked so uncomfortable over the ball at that distance. But I mean, it was just that oak was striking his irons so pure, which is why I like my pick. If we're talking my early little showing my hand in terms of what my picks were, was Colin Morikawa and sort of those sort of absolute bullshit, Ricky Matsuyama, those guys who just pure their irons, I think are going to be in with a shot.
But I mean, I don't know if they want to be in with a shot, because the plaque that they put up of Jason Duffner looks horrendous.
What do you mean? Like, how bad can a plaque look?
So I mean, I don't know if you remember that statue that they put up of Cristiano Ronaldo once, like a gold statue. It was horrific. It's like a slimmed down version of that, obviously in the form of a plaque. It's not great. Apparently, Justin Thomas was like taking selfies with it and just roasting Jason Duffner online.
But Jason Duffner is actually quite a classic oak online. I mean, he seems like quite a classic oak all round. I remember watching him on the golf course and thinking, yes, this Duffner looks like a boring sourpuss. And then like you get onto the you like look at his social media and he's actually flipping classic. Like he's super dry sense of humor, doesn't take himself too seriously. So I can imagine actually he probably would have enjoyed being ribbed a bit.
Mm.
Yeah, he was such a unique player, hey, because he kind of just dinked it out there and then just kind of flushed the shit out of his irons. I think
that pre-waggle that he used to do.
Yeah. I'm looking at this plaque now. Oh my word, it is bad. He's got like the shaggiest hair.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is classic. Yeah, no, I don't think you need to have like a bad portrait on a plaque. That's terrible.
If that's what you get for winning, I'm not sure if you want to win.
It's like those caricatures that people draw like of you at the beach. Where they accentuate worst features.
What, out of the sand?
Yeah. Yes, it's terrible. It looks like one of those like belt buckles you'd have at like a WWE, like it's got that kind of shape and
yeah, it does.
It's so bad. Yeah.
Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah.
He does look at Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah, he does. Look Friday.
Yeah, Duffner was a strange cat, eh? But he was flipping good for like 18 months or 2 years.
Mm. Then he just disappeared, eh?
Yeah, he just kind of lost it.
So Terrence, what else did you get out of your deep dive on the course?
Well, okay, so while we're on the course, there was one super interesting fact that I found, and that was that in 1986, and they had the US Open at Oak Hill. On, I think it was the second day, there were 4 players who got a hole-in-one on the same hole in the space of 2 hours.
That makes me really, really upset for someone who took I think I put a 400 Rand bet down that no one would get a hole-in-one this major.
Well, that hole apparently doesn't exist anymore on the golf course, so I don't know if that makes you feel any better. It's been completely redesigned, but I think it was the sixth hole back then. But Nick Price was one of them actually, and apparently they all used exactly the same club. They all used a 7-iron, and yeah, 4 of them in the space of 2 hours. Like, yeah, they're saying that's the original 4 aces.
Classic.
Okay. Are you sure it's not that same hole like at Amdoni where you can't see the hole and there's just a caddy at the top just kicking the ball into the hole?
Yeah, listen, who knows, eh? But that was an interesting little tidbit that I thought was worthy to mention. Apparently, Rory McIlroy is a member of this club, but he's only played like 27 holes there in his whole life.
European Tour membership.
I think his like in-laws live in the town or something, so they gave him like a.
Who's that,
whatever.
James?
Yeah, Scar's firing bullets at Rory.
But no, I don't have much else. But what I did do a bit of a deep dive on because is the actual PGA Champs, and I mean maybe I'll just go over that, like just do a little 5-minute thing. So what the thing that's unique about the PGA Champs is that there's club pros playing in the event, right? They can qualify through a separate system to play in the PGA Champs. Okay, so there's 30 club pros playing in the PGA Champs this week, which is quite a lot. If you think about it in the sense of like the size of the field. Yeah. I might have that number wrong. It might be 20 or 25. I think it was 30 though. So that's what kind of makes the tournament unique, is that you have these like legitimate like guys who like running a pro shop, you know, like Monday to Sunday sort of thing, and they can play in this. There's a qualification tournament that they play in, which was a couple of weeks ago, and I think the top 30 get a spot in the PGA. So that's what makes it unique compared to kind of all the other championships. It's also apparently got the strongest strength of field in terms of world ranking, just based on the way they do, even with the club pros in there, based on the way they do their like exemptions and stuff for it. So that's pretty interesting. But the interesting thing is if you look at the history of like the PGA Champs, it's like very tied in with the kind of history of the PGA Tour, and like essentially the tour and the PGA Association essentially came out of was one body up until like the late 1960s, and basically like the fact that there's still club pros at the PGA Champs is it kind of tells you like where the PGA Tour originally came from, because essentially when it was founded in like I don't know, the mid 1920s or whatever, up until like late 1950s, it was literally mainly just like club pros playing tournaments. That was essentially like what the PGA Tour was. It was just like the odd tournament was put on like here and there, and there was basically like very little sponsorship, like very little prize money, and like tournaments were put on by like some oak who like owned a hotel in like some random part of America who wanted to like try and drive tourism or something there, you know, and he would like sponsor a competition, and and then that was kind of it. That was kind of the tour. And then sort of after the Second World War, there was kind of an economic boom in America, and then the prize money at these things started going up and up, and eventually like a couple of guys, well, half the guys decided to kind of like go out on their own without like being a club pro. They were just going to be like a pro golfer. So you had these like two groups, like pro golfers who were trying to like just make it, and then just the club pros who were like your average kind of oak running his pro shop and then playing in the odd event. But the way the tournaments were structured, then you essentially had 60 players. So let's say there was a field of 150. You had 60 guys were the touring pros, and then the rest of the field was the other 100 guys all just qualified in like a Monday qualifier. And this started like pissing off the touring pros, because they were like they started becoming like semi-famous. This is when like Arnold Palmer was like started to come into his prime because he was like a marketing machine. And then there was TV coverage that started coming on. And these club pros were apparently like super unorganized, the guys who were like running the tour. And eventually it got to a point where like the whole lot of the touring, like basically all the touring pros just like went on strike. They were like, fuck it, we don't want to play with these club pros. They like, you know, bringing the game into they're not bringing professionalism to the sports, and we can make more money. And they essentially like split. They basically said like we're going nuclear and we're forming our own tour. This was like Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer and a whole lot of them. And they had this whole like showdown where there was a period of like 3 months, which was kind of funny because it was kind of similar to like the Live PGA Tour stuff.
I was going to say, it sounds very familiar.
Yeah. So, and like one of the interesting facts was like in the 1968 PGA Champs, there were 110 club pros. So sorry, there were 56 touring pros and 110 club pros. And this was like 1968. So this was like Jack Nicklaus was like, kind of in his prime and whatever. And apparently after that PGA Champs, Jack Nicklaus missed the cut, and he lashed out and saying it's like bullshit that all these like fucking club pros are like playing in like this major, it's supposed to be like a major event. Obviously he was a bit like pissed off that he'd missed the cut, like losing essentially to like some club pros or whatever. But like essentially they saw themselves as like just a cut above these like, average Joes. And and they basically said, we're going to form our own tour. And eventually they came to this agreement that like after tons of, you can do a deep dive, and there was tons of like legal negotiation, which maybe would be of interest to you guys. But eventually Arnold Palmer was the one who like kind of was the mediator between like the PGA of America and then the guys who wanted to do their own tour. And the interesting thing is that they say that he like really didn't want to piss off the club pros, because at that stage, like he had his own brand of golf clubs, like the Palmer golf clubs, which was like the best-selling golf clubs in America, and it was only sold like through pro shops by the club pros. So like he had a vested interest not to piss off the club pros too much. So he apparently kind of brokered the deal, and eventually they kind of formed this separate entity, which is now basically the PGA Tour. So it's kind of interesting how the PGA Champs was essentially like a bit of a showdown for like the ultimate like formation of the tour, and you had this like tension between touring pros and like club pros.
So Terrence, but I mean, my ignorance is going to come across here. So the PGA Championship, this PGA, is that the same PGA that like the club pro at Victoria or Durban Country Club or like in South Africa? Because they always say he's a PGA member. Is it the same PGA that they're talking about that this PGA Champs is, or is it US PGA, which is different?
PGA.
So it's US PGA, but so I think that you have the South African PGA, but essentially the South African PGA is like an affiliate of the US PGA.
Okay,
if that makes sense. So they have like an affiliation between all the different PGAs, like in the different countries. But the PGA Champs, like the major tournament, is still run and owned by the PGA of America.
But the PGA of America is the umbrella on which all of the other PGAs sit.
Yeah, Jacques, I don't know that kind of relationship. All I understand is that like there's a strong affiliation between like different countries' PGAs. That's the way I see it.
Okay.
They stand alone. They're affiliated, but they stand alone.
Yeah.
The PGA of America is the organizer of the US PGA Championship. It's their flagship event.
The reason I say this is how much more psyched would we be for this major if it was one held all around the world. So it was the one major that was held, in Africa or in Australia or in Asia or in sort of continental Europe.
Or even every other year.
Exactly. And then the second thing I was going to say, how cool would it be if it was a match play? Like a roaming match play, completely different to the other majors, a different team, still like the difference between playing, on clay versus on grass sort of thing. There's a different format in golf, that you need to go out there and win. And there's a bit of a lack of match play events now with Dell going away. So yes, it would be cool if this one was a roaming major that was match play. I think, imagine how cool that would be to watch, and how psyched we'd be looking at the pairings when they came out and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, it was originally match play when it was first founded, like in 16. It was match play all the way up until like the end of 1958. And I'm assuming that it flipped to Stableford, like probably aligned around about with when it was early TV coverage and stuff like that. I don't know for sure. But yeah, I guess maybe they just found it easier to get more players involved. I'm not, like, it's hard to say what the reason was, but I've also heard that theme expressed of the fact that, like, is this not like a PGA of like the world? And to your point, Jacques, should it then not, like, is there not room to expand the hosting of it, like, outside of America? I mean, as we know, that's probably very unlikely, given that America kind of see themselves as the center of the golf world, which they sort of almost are. But yeah, it would be really cool if that did eventually progress to doing that.
Look, it has got a lot better. I think we've chatted about it on previous pods, where it's definitely, I mean, in my mind, it's almost about to overtake the US Open, behind the Masters and the Open Championship by a long way. But I think specifically our coverage of the US PGA Championship in South Africa has definitely improved over like the last 2-3 years. Definitely. Before that, it was almost unwatchable. So that's really helped.
Yeah, for me, it still sits in the fourth spot.
Me too, but I think it's facing the US Open down.
Yeah, I just think, I suppose I put more value on the US Open because it's like a national Open, I guess. And I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting because the PGA, it's actually the one. So there's almost a bit of a bit like the Masters in the beginning, because the Masters was just an invitational. It wasn't like the British or the US Open that you could, qualify for, and therefore did it have all the best golfers in the world? And the PGA is actually kind of similar, because if you think about what I said in like the 60s, that they still had like 30% of the field were basically club pros. You got to kind of ask whether, like, there were people who couldn't get into the field who were actually like good enough to kind of win it, like touring pros who couldn't qualify, So some people say there's a bit of an asterisk on kind of those sort of pre-19 sort of 80 PGAs because of possibly a slightly weaker field. Although the way they've changed their exemption things now, and as I said, now it's like apparently the strongest field actually of all the majors.
Which is interesting. A lot of people still consider it like half a major.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I think the other thing is that just the last thing I was going to say is that another interesting fact about the PGA is that in the 1960s, 5 times in the 1960s, they played the PGA the week after the British Open, like literally the week after. So
that's tough.
You can imagine, like, there were also, like, back in those days, like, not all the American guys went over to to play the British Open, and probably vice versa, So yeah, a couple of question marks over like that. The other thing I was going to say about the PGA is that I think as South Africans, it's been like very, very barren, like for us as a championship. I mean, could you guys know the last South African to win the PGA?
Gary Player.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Is he the only one to win the PGA?
Yeah. Okay, so Nick Price won it, but Nick Price is Zimbabwean.
Yeah.
So the last South African to win was Gary Player in 72. Gary Player won it in 62 as well. Yeah, he's the only South African to ever win the PGA.
That's
Louis come second twice, as we know. He's come second in everything.
Any prospects in there at the moment either?
I see Aki Stradum sitting last at the moment.
No, I don't think he's is he?
Yeah.
Is he teed off?
Yeah, what did you guys do? So yeah, I just think summing up, it's got quite an interesting history, but as South Africans, it hasn't been a happy hunting ground. We kind of have made hay at I guess at the Masters in the 2000s, but before that, kind of Ernie and Retief hit the US Open. And the British Open, obviously. So yeah, I don't think we'll see a South African winner this year, but maybe Mean Dean will prove us wrong.
Yeah, maybe bring that stinger energy.
So is he your best? You think the best prospects for South Africans is Burmester? Only real prospects, isn't he?
Well, there's Tristan Lawrence, Christian Bezuidenhout is probably up there with him, but yeah, I think Dirty Dean.
He hits it probably the longest out of all those guys, and he's actually been playing reasonably well. Well,
I'm gonna say
he's been playing pretty well on live, better than other guys. So I have no idea. Christian Bezuidenhout doesn't hit the ball very far.
Yeah.
I'm not sure honestly don't know much about Aki Stradum or Tristan Lawrence. I know Tristan Lawrence had a really good season last year, but I think he's been pretty quiet this year. I've got before I get to this, what did you guys do on Golf Champs?
So Golf Champs has been a bit stuffed up, I suppose, with the Live Oaks losing all their ranking points, because you can pretty much pick like Dustin Johnson and then like 1, 2, 3, which is crazy. So I did try and buck the trend a bit. So I went with Brooks, Cam Smith, Colin Morikawa, and then I threw out a real Hail Mary and I went with
Adrian Morong.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. I mean, he did just win, and he hits it pretty far.
But he's won and he's been up there in all of the DP World Tour events, and I don't know. There's going to be one random oak from the DP World Tour this week. I think it's going to be Adrian Morong.
Yeah, you got to have. I mean, if you're not doing it has kind of screwed with Golf Champs. I mean, a little bit, quite a lot, but it actually still also makes it kind of interesting as well, because the other thing is, if you want to have like a unique pick,
yes,
you have to kind of be a bit more adventurous. Then, I mean, I saw initially, I just out of interest to see how many people had picked it. I picked Brooks, DJ, Rahm, and Scotty. And it said there were 135 other people who had the same pick, and that was like yesterday morning. So I'm guessing there was like a couple others added to that. So yeah, if you're in a pool where you're trying to win some money, you're going to be splitting that like probably 10 or 15 ways, which you don't really want to be doing. Hello, Carl.
Yeah, sorry, man.
What happened?
Our phone overheated.
Oh, it's all those hot takes you were bringing on Christian Bezuidenhout.
All those bullets I was throwing at Rory McIlroy.
It's probably the Irish gods.
I think, what were you disclosing the cheats for Golf Champs? So what was the? I was hanging on to every word there, and then we lost it. So
okay. I'm not sure where you lost me. I was just saying there were if you picked Rahm, Scotty, Brooks, and DJ, there were 135 people who had the same pick. And if you're trying to win some money, like in a betting pool, you're going to be splitting that like 20 ways. So, So I kind of wasn't that adventurous, to be honest with you. I did some betting and stuff for this PGA Champs, but I must say that for the Masters, I was feeling like very confident of who I felt like was going to play well, and I did very well in Golf Champs, but I didn't really have a good feel, particularly for like the mid-range guys. Sometimes what I do is I try and get like 3 or 4, like 4 guys that are around like 20 to 30. But there were so many guys who like either they're going to play well or they're like we're going to completely bomb out. Like, so yeah, I fell into the DJ trap as well. So I went but I just tried to find a unique combo, and I found a unique combo, which was DJ, Brooks, Rahm, and Tyrrell Hatton.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe someone else picked that since I made my picks, but I think Tyrrell Hatton should play pretty well on this golf course. He hits it pretty far, and he's
Pretty straight.
he's playing well this year.
Who did you pick off?
I tried to be unique in a slightly non-unique way as well. So I put my live banner up, and
Torborn Ollison.
No. I went all live. So mine's a stacked live team. So sick. I went, and only one other person at the time had gone with this, which was Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Cam Smith, and P. Reed.
Oh,
So it's a good combo.
that is a good combo. Patrick Reed is not a very good driver of the golf ball.
He doesn't have that far though. So I mean, he's not great. But I sort of played around with a few combinations, and I thought just to be slightly controversial, let's put a full live team forward. And I was going to go with DeChambeau, but I mean that oak's been absolutely nowhere this year, so I couldn't choose him.
I see his world rankings like in the 200s, or
yeah,
sick.
But what's the thing about the world ranking aspect is obviously you've got guys with, like Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, whose world rankings have plummeted. Yet, if you look at like the betting on these oaks, they're right up there with the other guys, and that's sort of. I read a short Golf Digest thing the other night or last night about how I think it was actually Flushing at Golf or whatever. Who's quite a pro live guy. And he was saying, look, the betting guys know how to judge where a guy is in the world rankings, and that's essentially like trying to tap into those guys as a means of seeing where guys actually sit at the moment in the world ranking, the actual world ranking, not the IW.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the betting guys obviously they need to keep tabs on it very closely. So it's a good way to gauge where guys are. I must say I'm looking at this course on TV now. It looks flipping awesome, actually.
Well, I know that area, that Rochester area, is very beautiful. In
it's no, it looks like just the grass and the greens, the bunkering, and no, it's showing up very nicely on TV. It's not looking like a boring kind of PGA Tour course. It looks more like kind of a US Open course. It's kind of a shine to the greens, but they look pretty quick.
Are they showing much of Kazuki Higa?
I think I'm just watching the feature groups here.
Has Kazuki not made it into the feature group?
He's not in a feature group there.
So Terrence, were you tempted by any of the like betting sort of adjacent bets where you could make them to say who won't make the cut?
Well, I didn't make a bet like that, but the one bet I did make, which was very much betting against someone, was I bet that Xander Schauffele would beat Rory McIlroy for the week. I think Xander should have a pretty solid week. Everything indicates that he will. Rory, I'm not convinced the head's right just yet. So that's the one kind of negative bet that I made against someone.
Yeah, I think that's a fair bet.
Yeah.
What was it 50-50?
Yeah, it was 50. Yeah, it was evens. Yeah. What's nice about those bets is it's not like against the field, So it's like you're betting on a match essentially for the weekend. So they're quite fun to keep tabs on. Unless Xander misses the cut, then it's not so fun. But listen, I've got a bit of a schoolyard game to play with you guys. I've got a whole lot of players' names here. Yeah. And this is like picking your rugby team in the schoolyard. So you've got to pick one name at a time, and you're gonna create a live team for each of you out of these guys, and then you're gonna work out their live scoring for the weekend.
Okay.
And the winner will the winner will nominate a forfeit to the loser.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Jacques first because it's alphabetical order. So you got to pick. Okay, the first category you got to pick between Rahm, Scotty, or Rory.
I'm gonna go with Ron. Okay, you guys can't take him then, eh?
No, of course. Do you remember how schoolyard selection works? You couldn't play on both sides. Okay, Carl, who do you want?
So it's Scotty or Rory.
Scotty or Rory?
I can pick for
Okay,
Carl.
yeah, I'm going Scotty. I don't like.
Okay.
Okay, I've given you Rory, Terrence.
I guess I'm left with the oak that I think is gonna fuck out. Okay, Carl, you go first now. You've got Tommy Fleetwood, Tyrrell Hatton, and Justin Rose. This is the English category.
Tyrrell Hatton.
Okay. Oh, that's actually an easy one. All right. I'm going to take Tommy.
Yeah, I thought that would be the case. All right.
So you got Rose. Okay. Next category is Phil. This is the live category. Phil, Bryson, or Patrick Reed.
Oh, you're going to be stuck with Bryson
I'm
now.
so stoked that I'm going first. I'm going to take Patrick Reed.
Yeah. I'm going to take Phil.
All right.
Who are you going to take?
I'm going to take the sponsorless Bryson DeChambeau.
Is he sponsorless?
He's been dropped by Cobra, and he's parted ways with Puma. So I think the only sponsor he has left is Bridgestone for his golf ball.
What's Greg Norman's brand?
The Great White Shark.
Yeah, doesn't he have a whole bunch of apparel and stuff out?
Well,
classic
maybe.
of Bryson will all that stuff.
Maybe the Crushers will take Greg Norman on.
I'm honestly surprised Bryson doesn't have his own line of clothing.
Yeah,
That's got to be around the corner.
yeah. It's like
It seems like his vibe.
Be like a vest or like a gym outfit, but with collars.
Yeah. I see he had a big press conference this week and was how he was talking about how he may have got his diet a bit wrong when he went on that bulk up during COVID. He was like, I may have eaten a bit too much protein.
Yeah, you think so?
Because I don't know if you've seen him lately, but he's kind of slimmed down a little bit from bulky.
He looks much healthier. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he looked ridiculous when he was at his.
He looked like a bouncer at one stage.
But I mean, slightly off top, that same flashing it guy on Instagram put up a photo of Phil Mickelson when I think he first won the PGA Championship, and now, and he was like, "Yeah, how much better does he look?" And I was like, "I don't think so. He looks like he's about to peg."
Well, I'd like to put in there with P. Reed, Terrence, because I've got someone who's about to peg, and Hoff's got someone who admitted he eats too much protein.
Mm.
Although P. Reed might also be DQ'd for cheating, so I don't think any of us are safe there.
Listen, I would say it's fifth. If I had to take P. Reed versus Phil or Bryson, I'd probably say that's a 50-50 bet. I'm saying Phil or Bryson.
At this course, I think Bryson. I mean, he's been in horrible form, but I mean, he hits the ball a long way, as we know. So I mean, it should be a good fit. So I mean, if he clicks, you never know.
Well,
Yeah.
When's clicking, to be honest.
Yeah.
Terrence, what's our next?
Okay, next category is the SA category. And it's the Jacques. You're up first. So you've got Oki Stratum, Tristan Lawrence. It's a really tough name, that. And Mean Dean.
Yeah, Dean, thanks.
Oh, easy, yeah?
Yeah, that was a goodie.
Okay.
So I've got
Oki
or Tristan?
Straight up.
Tristan Lawrence.
The problem is, Terrence, is that you did this without knowing that Oki Stratum was already 3 over.
Is he?
Yeah, through 3 holes.
Well, remember, not all the scores count every day. Eh? It's like live scoring. So.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. We've got 5 guys now. That's we're gonna have to work that out. We're gonna have to work out how we do scoring. Best 3. 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Or 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Let's go 4 out of 5.
Yeah. And if you got more than if Oaks missed the cut, tough shit.
Yeah, tough shit. Although that's Yeah, we'll have to review the rules of this maybe at the halfway mark and see where we stand.
So your oak should get the worst score of the day if he misses the cut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the golf champs setup. Okay, last category. This is the best one. Carl's picking first. We have Siwon Kim, who, firstly, I can't fucking believe this oak is qualified for the PGA Champs. He's literally come dead fucking last in Live, which is a weak ass tour as it is, in like 70% of the events, and yeah, he's playing in the PGA Champs. It kind of makes a bit of a mockery, to be honest, of the PGA Champs, couple of the exemption categories. Yeah. So that's just very hilarious. Anyways,
Siwon is
Siwon Kim. Then we have Anirban Lahiri and Kevin Na.
You guys first.
Oh, Carl.
I think I'm actually going to take Lahiri. He's been in decent form, and Kevin Na hits the ball like 20 meters. So, yeah.
So Terrence going with Siwon. After you've just sung his praises to start, I assume he'll be your obvious pick.
The problem now is that, like, at least you just kind of get the dregs. You know, I actually have to like choose one of these guys over the other guy. You know, which is really tough. But I don't know. Sure. I'm not even going to look at what the current leaderboard is, because that would just be devious. But yeah, I'll take C1. Why not? Just give him a whirl. Good, what is he on?
All right. I get Kevin Na.
Awesome. Oh, well done. I just really don't like Kevin Na, so I'm just picking it. This is just a social pick more than anything. All right. Well, good luck, guys. We'll confirm the rules
as we go along.
Yes, as we go along.
Confirm the rules.
Yeah.
Team is horrible.
So just to confirm, the teams are, Jacques, you've got Ram, Rose, Phil, Mean Dean, and Kevin Na. It's not actually that bad when I read it like that.
Team apart from the...
I'm quite comfy with my team here. I mean, I'm looking at you like Oki Stradum and C1, and I've got Bryson, Tristan, Lawrence, and Lahiri.
Scotty, Carl, you got Scotty, Tyrrell, Bryson, Tristan, and Lahiri.
I'm not a huge fan of Scotty, so I think the only guy on that whole list I actually remotely like is Tyrrell.
Who would that team be if they were in Live? Like, what do you think that team would be? It's a real mixed bag.
Tyrrell, Bryson, Tristan, and Lahiri. Probably the Crushers, actually.
But it's
probably the Crushers.
Like head cases, and then like guys who are Zen. I mean, Scotty and Lahiri are like Zen masters, and then you got Tyrrell and Bryson.
I think Jacques would be the fireballs.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I've got Rory, Tommy, Reed. Oh my gosh. It's got sort of it's got cliques kind of qualities.
Or even
or Discam maybe.
A little bit Majestics with Tommy and Rory. Like I think Rory would probably be a Majestic.
Yeah,
but maybe cliques.
Buy one get one free.
No. There's definitely no four aces around here.
No.
Listen, guys, we've managed to talk for 47 minutes about the PGA. So, I think I'm all out. Like,
yeah.
I'm
going to go and watch Kevin Na play with renewed vigor.
Yeah, I want some active supporting of these guys.
Per day.
I want you to.
It's their scores per day.
Yeah, per day.
Out of the 5.
We'll do the best 3 out of the 5.
Best 3 out of the 5.
Yeah.
4 out of the 5.
Do best 3 because then at least
we'll do best 3. We'll do best 3. Yeah. Give some of the guys a break. You know, some of the guys need a couple of days off.
Sure. Okay. Well, good luck. Godspeed.
Well, listen, I'm actually sadly going to probably watch very little of the golf this weekend because I'm going to be up in the Cedarburg doing some hiking. So, I'll honestly probably try and catch the back 9 on Sunday nights. I'm not sure I don't think the time zone's great for us.
No. Look, I don't think
but-
it's some of the others, but I don't think it's great anyway.
I think
I'm gonna do my best to watch probably Friday night and Saturday night. But unfortunately, I think Sunday's a bridge too far.
Yeah, the best time, honestly, to watch is actually at the moment when they have these feature groups on because it's early.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll get home now, and Rory and them are only on the 4th hole, basically.
Yeah.
So, you've got a full 10 holes to watch there by the time you get home, which is decent. Yeah, it's you stirred a few people up with your curry gravy take last week, Carl.
Hey, what's it? All press is good press.
Yeah, stand by it, Hoff. Stand by that tape.
I mean, I'm still waiting to see from Princess Grant whether that invitation is on the house.
You'll be pleased to know that I'm going to Royal Durban tomorrow to play a round of golf, so I'll report back on the halfway house. I think the weather's meant to be supremely cuck, so we could be in there for a while.
Tomorrow.
Well, I did get someone kind of calling me out on the Royal Durban halfway house, but then I wasn't sure whether they were saying it's actually much better than the picture that I showed, or it's actually much worse than the picture I showed. So we know where you stand, but I'm not sure where this person stood. So it'll be interesting to get your feedback. I see the Royal Durban bar made it into the top 10 bars though. So it's quite a sort of, decision tree that you have there when you decide where you're going to sit while it's raining.
But I did say to you, Terrence, when you said Royal Durban halfway house, I said, I think you're confusing it with the bar, which is
No, for sure. No, I wasn't, but I think I might have been. I wish I could claim that I was, but I might have had blinkers on a little bit for maybe a good meal that I had there once. But Carl, a lot of people saying that you should not judge a golf course by its curry gravy, and there's quite a bit of people thought you were hating on Princess Grant, and I think that's definitely not the case.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's exactly the case.
To a certain extent, I was hating on them until they can prove otherwise. There's a couple of other irks that I've got at that golf course.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I mean, they must change my mind. I suppose they gave us a little invite. They weren't clear on whether it was on the house, which is disappointing. But we'll
nudge.
That if I'm driving all the way to a golf course like that, I've got my priorities wrong. But I was thankful for response.
To be clear, I think what they offered was a curry gravy tasting. Now, yes. I'm not sure what that looks like, having never attended a curry gravy tasting, but certainly would be a first probably for most of us. So I'm definitely willing to attend that and cover my own fuel to get there.
Well, also what they don't know about Hoff is that he's got chronic heartburn, so tasting could be the end of the man.
But also, if the chronic heartburn kicks in, it's good. So there's good indicators.
I see. Okay.
I look forward to them trying to change my mind. I certainly stand by those takes, and look, maybe a little tasting on the 9th, on the 12th, almost like you do drinking holes, just curry gravy holes.
I just hope the insurers aren't listening to this, because I can just feel that key man insurance increasing exponentially with every time you say.
Maybe we just ask Princess Grant to just have a shot of Gaviscon on standby.
Yeah.
It looks like strawberry lips. It's the same color when you pour it into a shot glass. So.
Oh man! But let them change our minds. I'm looking forward to it.
100%. Cool. I agree. I'm looking forward to our next chat. We've got on the schedule. We're going to do some deep dives. We're going to try and keep kind of the content a little bit light on the pro golf stuff.
Yeah.
And we're going to do some more kind of deep dives into some different things. So next week we've got a deep dive talking about the great Cathedral Peak 9-hole golf course in the Drakensberg, which I'm very much looking forward to. So with that, gentlemen, I hope you have an enjoyable viewing of the PGA.
Thank you, Terrence, and enjoy the viewing of the Cedarburg.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
thanks for,
some red wine in hand. Thanks for coming on the show.
yeah, thanks for having us on.
Thanks.
I hope your phone's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll do.
Just had a little hissy fit.
Thank you, Big T.
It was the Irish curse.
Yeah, it was
I
Rory.
can see. I'm actually watching Rory now, and he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. So let's see what happens.